What's up guys, it's HankStanx. In today's video I want to go over some of the pros and cons of Battlefield 6. These pros and cons are based on the multiplayer beta, so if you're watching this after release, a few of these subjects may not apply. Battlefield 6 is pretty solid, but there are some things that I hope they change before the release on October 10th. First, let's discuss open versus closed weapons playlists. When Battlefield Studios announced that during the beta they would be testing both systems, I was happy to hear it. I think both systems have their place, but in different modes. Core game modes should be closed weapons, and close quarters game modes could be open. After playing the 2 weekend tests, it feels as though they are pushing open weapons down our throats. During the first weekend, there was a Conquest closed weapons playlist that I spent the majority of my time in. On the first day of weekend 2, I saw that it had been removed in favor of a closed weapons all-out warfare playlist. My primary game mode is Conquest, so being forced to play other modes just to get closed weapons didn't sit right with me. Closed weapons allow for a more true to Battlefield experience. You'd think after the failure that was 2042 that DICE would have learned a lesson, but maybe not. Next up, let's talk about the big changes to Rush. In Battlefield 6, it seems that Rush will only be playable with 24 players or 12v12. We haven't seen this few players in a game of Rush since the original Gold Rush mode in the first Bad Company game. I can say that it plays well with 24 players, especially since most objectives are close together, but some changes need to be made to the MCOM locations, especially on the smaller maps. However, I can't shake the feeling that this mode would be better with 32 players. Another fix that needs to be made is for the ability for defenders to practically push directly into the attacker's spawn. This is most prevalent on Empire State. There needs to be an out of bounds closer to the HQ to reduce spawn traps. I also noticed that when the MCOM is armed, but the attackers run out of tickets, there is no overtime function. That's pretty weird. The game just ends. It amazes me that Battlefield Studios did not let us playtest Rush in labs. They have practically kneecapped the mode, and this could have been avoided with earlier feedback. Time will tell if they make these necessary changes, but it's something I hope the developers strongly consider. They need to go back to the drawing board. Another thing that's really bothering the core Battlefield community is the heavy infantry focus on 3 out of the 4 beta maps. Siege of Cairo and Iberian Offensive are both maps with tanks, but no other vehicles, and Empire State is completely infantry only. This focus on infantry over vehicles has rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. With only 9 maps on release, including a remake of Operation Firestorm, there will only be 3 maps with all vehicles available. While the gunplay in this game is crisp and exciting, it feels like tank, helicopter, and jet aficionados are being forgotten. I really hope that we get some new larger maps quickly after release. One thing I haven't seen many people discussing is spotting. It just feels weird in the game. When downed, I can't tell if I've spotted the enemy sometimes, and also if I spot more than one, I can't tell if the other is still spotted. 3D spotting is also really strange compared to 2042. I hope they get this dialed in. We obviously haven't had the opportunity to go hands-on with Portal, but I am very excited to see what the community can create. Battlefield Studios is giving us a server browser in Portal only at this time, but things could change. The community is definitely hoping for a ranked server browser inside of the base game. During Weekend 2, they have added a custom search feature, but this is still a step down from a full server browser. This feature allows you to choose your favorite combinations of maps and modes. For example, if you want to play Conquest on Siege of Cairo, then matchmaking will prioritize putting you in a match with this combo if available. Most weapons feel balanced, but the shotgun is still overpowered in the beta. Balancing shotguns in video games is historically one of the hardest things to do. In my opinion, they need to drop the range on it a bit, and I think it will be better. Aside from the shotgun balancing, I think the support classes LMGs could use a big buff. Most feel useless, and I can see many people using different weapons outside of the LMGs for this reason. Enough of the negatives. Let's get to the positive. Battlefield 6 has much improved gunplay over its predecessors. Hit registration has been very good from my experience, and guns have a very satisfying punch to them. Movement feels very well balanced. Sprint speed is quite slow until you pull out your knife, which gives the game a more realistic feel. The slide mechanic is the perfect distance. Jump shotting and drop shotting can only be effective in certain situations, and there is a large movement penalty for both. Class changes made for Battlefield 6 feel very good in my opinion. Each class has a solid role. I really like that the Assault class now has the spawn beacon. No more spawning on some random hillside and running a mile to the objective thanks to the recon. I also love that Support now has ammo and health in the supply crate. This is extremely helpful and a great decision. One concern that I know many have is the change to Engineer. Now Engineers can equip 2 different types of launchers for taking out air and ground vehicles. While this makes for fun gameplay and clips, it is also troublesome in regard to balancing. Let's talk about weapon customization. There is now a Pick 100 system for weapon customization. Each attachment will cost points. This system allows you to create exactly the type of weapon for your playstyle. I really like the Pick 100 system along with the Unlock system. It is easy to use and quite intuitive. We spoke about Rush, so let's talk about my favorite game mode, Conquest. I find that objective placement on most maps is almost perfect. I especially love Iberian Offensive and Liberation Peak for this mode. I think Battlefield Studios has knocked this mode out of the park, and I expect the full map rotation to be outstanding. Sound design is immaculate, especially while playing using the War Tapes VAL. It just sounds like pure chaos. I will say that footsteps sound a little bad, and if they don't improve it, I think it's still good enough, but I would like to see an improvement. As we've come to expect with Battlefield, the game is beautiful and the character design is true to modern military. Of course, you can't talk about Battlefield without mentioning the graphical fidelity. Battlefield 6 looks fantastic, and they have added some truly amazing volumetric effects that include enhanced smoke, lingering embers after explosions, and of course dust. Lighting has been improved, but there are some instances in which lighting is a bit too realistic, especially when inside of buildings. It can be very hard to see enemies in shadows, and also when they're outside and you're inside, the entire environment can become washed out, blending players with their surroundings. Textures look great. I've never seen such detail in a pile of rubble before. Destruction in Battlefield 6 is well implemented. Micro and tactical destruction works very well and makes for some interesting combat scenarios. However, destruction is not on the scale of Levolution from Battlefield 4 or Bad Company 2 in the way you could level all the buildings in the map. Destruction is more focused. It's really cool taking out interior walls in buildings in which the enemy is fortified, and in certain instances, complete destruction is possible, especially on Liberation Peak. I believe the destruction in Battlefield 6 is the perfect balance of all-out destruction without the map becoming unplayable. You can still find cover while also creating tactical routes and strategies using the destruction system. Another pro, surprisingly, is PC performance. This build of BF6 is extremely well optimized. I have an ultra-wide setup with a 7800 X3D and 7900 XTX, and I consistently average between 110 and 120 FPS at ultra settings. There have only been a few visual bugs from my experience, like flashing smoke and minor artifacting, but nothing close to game breaking. I believe by release day, most of these small issues will be ironed out. Finally, the last subject I'd like to touch on is cheating in Battlefield 6. To my knowledge, I have not run into any cheaters, so I believe the new Javelin anti-cheat is working as intended. There's been a video of a player by the name of Riley CS going absolutely viral all week. Many people believe that they were cheating and others don't think so. I'm not too sure. Some clips looked a little sus, but I've seen people do crazy things in game with their skill. At the end of the day, fuck cheaters. You have to be a complete loser to cheat in video games. I'm happy that Battlefield Studios has made significant improvements to their anti-cheat for Battlefield 6. Secure Boot is pretty great because if they're hardware banned from Battlefield 6, they'll most likely require a new PC to play the game. So if you're thinking about cheating, I'd advise not to. Overall, the experience I've had with Battlefield 6 has been positive and a lot of fun, but they still need to work out a few kinks before this game is ready to go. Hopefully they will listen to the core community's concerns and cater to them. After all, the Battlefield community has stuck with the franchise through thick and thin. If we're not happy, then the game will not survive for long, no matter how many Call of Duty players you onboard. On the bright side, Battlefield 6 feels reminiscent of Battlefield 3 and 4 with some modern improvements. Don't let the terminally online, angry gamers affect your opinion. This game is awesome and will set a new bar for the franchise. Of course, the game is far from perfect, but it's a significant improvement over recent titles like 2042. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Let me know some of your pros and cons in the comment section below. Hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't done so already. I will continue pumping out Battlefield 6 content. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you on the battlefield.